Today, I'm sharing a personal story on how this turned me into this. And yes, it's a slightly different video than what you're used to see from me on this channel. Normally, I just speak about entrepreneurship, mindset, and my business journey. But I think this topic deserves some time because, yes, I converted to Islam. But let's rewind and start at the beginning of my journey. I grew up like a normal kid, in a normal household, parents with a normal income, a mother, a father, and a sister. But when I was 7 years old, things changed. My parents got divorced. I didn't see my father a lot. My mother had a really hard time managing the situation, financially, emotionally. It wasn't easy as a boy of just 7 years old seeing this. As a kid, growing up, I went through very impulsive and unwise periods. Not making the right decision, hanging out with the wrong people, alcohol at a young age. You could argue that I didn't have the best or most common childhood, but it was necessary to become the man that I am today. Because struggle makes a man. You learn by experience. And luckily, I have a great family that supports me, cares about me, loves me, and after all, I still manage to have a very strong bond with my father. And therefore, I now say, Alhamdulillah, meaning, praise be to God. But how did this happen? Why does this white guy speak Arabic and talk about Islam? Well, good question. In my younger years, I would never ever thought I would become a Muslim one day. But when looking back at my journey, it makes a lot of sense. At 15, 16 years old, I started to turn my emotions and negative experiences slowly into my motivation. I started building my future self. I started reading books, listening to podcasts, going to the gym more often, waking up early, etc., etc. I became a lot more conscious of the impact of the bad habits I developed during my younger years. I knew that if I didn't change these habits, my future wouldn't change either. And during this change, my group of friends started to become smaller and smaller. Some of them thought it was really weird what I was doing, but I didn't really care because I had this dream in my mind. I became obsessed with growing, learning, and developing myself. While my group of friends started to become smaller, a few friends never left. And someday somebody asked me, "Did you notice that almost all of your friends you have left are Muslim? Why is that?" So I started thinking, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Why is that? But the answer was very simple. At that age, my Muslim friends were the only ones not drinking, not partying, and while all of the other boys in school were talking about how many girls they had, my friends were talking about the universe and the meaning of life. I mean, Muslims that stick to their religion are one of the most disciplined people I've ever seen. I just felt really inspired with these people around me. Even with these Muslim friends around me, in the beginning my interest was not really focused on the religion itself. It was more their way of life, the brotherhood, the love, and respect that slowly shifted my focus to the religion that instilled these traits in them. Still without the idea of thinking I would ever become a Muslim. And this was because I always had the idea that religion was like an old fairy tale that already was disproven by science. But the more and more I started digging into it, the more I realized I was completely wrong. So long story short, for every question I asked, I received a powerful answer when digging more into Islam. And when people nowadays ask me why I became religious, I always say two reasons. One, for the rules and the way of living in this worldly life, we call it dunya in Arabic. And two, the hereafter, called akhirah. So let's start with the second one. All life is a test. This is something we can't argue about. It doesn't matter if you want to become the greatest sportsman alive or just live a normal, safe life. So whatever you do, you will never be 100% satisfied with this life.